Nepal, one of the poorest countries on Earth. Home to 8 of the 10 highest mountains on the planet. About the size of Iowa, the country of 29 million is sandwiched between 2 of the largest, most populated, and most economically influential countries in the world. Known as the land where gods and men live together, Nepal is the birthplace of Buddha. But despite that, between 80 and 90% of its population identifies itself as Hindu, and has for thousands of years. A Hindu kingdom that worships over 330 million gods. However, a major political upheaval began in Nepal around 1990, and from 1996 to 2006, the country was torn apart by civil war. Known as the People's War, the conflict was launched by communist rebels seeking to topple the traditional Hindu monarchy and caste system. In 2006, the monarchy fell, and Nepal began to consider itself a secular, democratic nation. But it wasn't until the nation's first constitution was officially approved in 2015 that Nepal officially recognized that all religions are considered equal. Though cultural Hinduism runs deep, and social ostracism still can be suffered by those who choose Christ, for the first time in 2,000 years, it is not illegal to share the good news of Jesus Christ in Nepal. Imagine the pent-up potential energy stored in that country. It isn't unlike the series of powerful earthquakes that occurred in April and May of 2015. For millennia, the Indian subcontinental plate has been slowly crashing into the Asian landmass. The Himalaya Mountains are the result of massive tectonic forces that continue to build the tallest mountains on Earth. The devastating earthquakes were a massive release of decades of tectonic stress building up under immense pressure, resulting in the largest earthquake in Nepal in 80 years. It triggered thousands of landslides and hundreds of aftershocks, the largest occurring 2 weeks later as a 7.3 aftershock, a major earthquake in its own right. Nearly 9,000 people perished in the initial quake. In one instance, an entire village was erased from existence. With the monsoon rains about to begin, millions of people were finding themselves without shelter or forced to live in severely damaged buildings. To make matters worse, and perhaps to deliberately take advantage of the most vulnerable, September 2015 found certain political factions protesting the new constitution and the new political boundaries that were purposefully designed to make all of Nepal's inhabitants share political power equally. It began with riots that killed 11. Within weeks, groups of Madhesi activists had blocked all major entry points between India and Nepal. Nepal relies on India for 100% of its cooking, heating, and transportation fuel, including diesel for electrical generators. India denies it's a willful participant in the undeclared embargo, but it has much to gain politically by allying with the protesters and refusing to deliver food, fuel, and much-needed earthquake relief to Nepal's landlocked residents. Though the UN has been critical of this stalemate, few people know about it. And tonight, Nepal is entering its 6th month under this unofficial embargo. Half of the Red Cross's relief supplies warehoused in India continue to sit in those warehouses. Those who need humanitarian aid the most, the small, remote mountain villages hit hardest by the earthquakes, are dying in harsh winter conditions. According to some reports, this blockade may create more economic damage than the earthquakes themselves. Between the earthquakes and political unrest, Nepal's #1 industry, tourism, plummeted nearly 50% in 2015. With mounting economic, political, geographic, and religious struggles, now more than ever, Nepal needs to know the saving and transforming power of Jesus Christ. David Chung Ministries International seeks to transform individuals and churches through evangelism, leadership development, and spiritual awakening so that they can transform cities and nations. Together for harvest. Hope for Nepal.